Hi everyone, Simon Robinson from One Main Manager. This is a quick video about the timesheet section of the apps that we create. So whether you pay your guys per hour, per day or on price, it's important that you have accurate timesheets. Without accurate timesheets you can't possibly know job costs, job profits, staff efficiency or even whether your staff turned up at all. And given that labour is one of your most costly resources in the construction industry, it's really important that we track it very accurately. Paper-based timesheets struggle with this because there's lots of errors that can creep in, both in terms of the guys that created them and the people that collated them into an Excel spreadsheet or something similar. So what are the key features of our timesheet sections? Well, the first thing to point out is our timesheets, in fact all our apps, work on any type of smartphone. So it doesn't matter who your guys are, they can all have one of our apps on their phones. Also, because they've always got the phone on them, they can always create a time entry and clock in and clock out wherever they are. They don't need to, there's no exceptions. Even if they were to be working somewhere where there's absolutely no mobile phone signal, we can still make them do a time entry. The procedure for doing our time entry is really simple. So the general way it works is the guys will turn up to site in a van, they'll get out of the van, they'll log into the app, they'll go into the job and then they'll create a time entry, and all they need to tell me is what's their start time, what time did they get there. At the end of the day, when they finish the job, they come back to the van just before they leave site, they go back into the time entry and they tell me what the end time is, the clock out. And that's it. It's as simple as that. So that's the simple side of things. This is now the clever side of what the app does and the benefits it can bring to management. So the app does two little hidden secret checks when guys clock in and clock out. The first thing it does is it timestamps when they clocked in and when they clocked out. So you might have a guy that says, oh yes, I got to site at 5 minutes past 8, but the app might actually say that it didn't actually clock in until 10 to 9. If that were the case, then you might need to sort of review that. The other thing it will do, it'll also GPS stamp when they clock in and clock out. So again, you might have somebody that says, oh yes, I got to site at 5 minutes past 8, but you might find when looking at the figures that they were actually 3 miles away in a sandwich shop, so they didn't actually start work at all. So that's the sort of basics of it, but layered on top of this we can also add lots of useful figures. The first useful figure that we give a lot of people is something called effective rate. So what this is, the app can actually calculate what their daily wage is, whether they're on per hour, per day or whatever on price. But depending on what they're on, we also want to monitor how many hours they're doing for that money. So let me give you an example. Say you've got a guy and you're paying him £160 a day. And for that you'd expect him to do 8 hours work every day. So you're effectively paying him £20 an hour. Now say this guy for some reason only ends up averaging 6 hours a day. The effective rate, the amount that you're paying him, is effectively £26 an hour. But by sort of skimming 2 hours a day off, he's just giving himself a 30% pay increase. So things like this are important. I mean, another way of spinning it is that basically you are paying him 12 months' money to do 9 months of work a year. Another thing that we can do with timesheets is, say you do jobs where your guys work on big sites and there's different areas that they work in. An example might be, say you're a painter and decorator and you've got 4 lads working on a construction site and they're tasked with painting 100 houses. We want to know that they're all working efficiently and effectively. So one of the things you can do with our timesheets, if you want, is we can break the job up, and when the guys create a daily time entry, they tell us what site or what section they're working on. We can then track each section and each site and each person and actually pull the figures out to make sure that they're all working at the same speed or not. I mean, we might find that one guy can paint an entire house in 28 hours where another guy takes 21, in which case we want to know why. As I mentioned earlier, every single time entry is done against a job. So what that means is that every time entry's got a cost, so all the costs are associated against a job. In simple terms, what that means is if we add up all the costs, we can give you an exact labour cost for that job. That's important because if we extrapolate that a little bit further and we also add material costs on there, we've then got labour cost and material cost, we've got everything. If we know how much you're doing that job for, we can tell you your exact profit down to the penny. And most people don't know that. So Well, the final thing that we can do is we can actually enforce a lot of fairly stringent rules, and these are optional, but I'll give you an example. One of our clients who you can see on our website, a guy called Ivar Zonnenberg from Easy Living Home Improvements. He's got one of our timesheets apps, and this is an example of the features that are in his app, or the restrictions, should I say. So firstly, he wants to make sure these guys are on site. So we put a rule in saying that they cannot clock in or clock out if they're not within 500 metres of the site. The app will not let them create a time entry. They've got to be on the site. It also won't work if they try and turn the GPS off, because it just won't let them do it. He expects his guys to spend a full day on one site. They shouldn't be moving around. So we only let them do one time entry per day. And also, so if they try and create today's time entry tomorrow, it won't let them. The other little trick we've done is a little bit psychological, this one. So from a purely maths perspective, the only thing that we need is their clock in and clock out time. But we want to get the staff in the mindset that they're actually telling us what they want to be paid, and we want to make it sort of subtly clear that there's serious consequences if they're going to lie to us. So one of the things we put in a lot of our timesheets app is a little section at the bottom where the staff member has to actually sign to confirm that the time entries is given are honest and accurate, and you'd be surprised how well that works. And then the final thing is we make it so it's fail-safe. So if the guys who are doing the time entries don't do everything that they're supposed to be doing, that time entry will not count towards their weekly pay slip. It'll just pay them zero. So it basically means that they'll quite quickly get the message. So what's the results of using one of our time entry systems? Well, firstly, if this needs pointing out, you're all busy business people, presumably busy business owners. You haven't got time to mess around with staff members not doing simple little procedures like time entries properly. Everybody's got to do their bit in your business to ensure that it runs smoothly, efficiently, and it makes the maximum amount of profit. We can't be messing around. Secondly, the way we do time entries can massively reduce the admin time. Typically we see companies spending half a day to a day, sometimes 2 days a week, collating time entries and getting all labour costs together. With our app, even with potentially dozens of members of staff, it can be a matter of minutes to do the wage slips and actually do and calculate the cost, etc. The second one is you get a reduction in management time. Because we're not having to sit there teaching the guys how to do this, we're just expecting them to do it correctly. It's a simple system, and basically, like I said, it fails safe. So what you'll find is, if the lads do it wrong and they realise they're not going to get paid unless it's done right, you'll find they'll learn really, really quickly how to get it right. Second to last one is they can't really skive off or try and skip work, go home early or turn up late. So if you've got a guy that normally only manages 6 hours a day on site, maybe if we force him to be there 8 hours a day, maybe he'll do more work and contribute more to your profits. And then I mentioned this before, I touched on it before, if you've got accurate labour costs and you've got materials in there, then we can give you very accurate job costings. And that can be either at the end of the job, or if we do it properly, it can be actually even during the job, midway through, so you can actually see where you are versus what you thought you are. So hopefully that's been really useful. I've been Simon Robinson from One Main Manager, and this has been a video about timesheets. Thank you for watching.